Hey friends, thanks for clicking on this video, and I hope everybody is doing well and in good spirits. And I hope you will just pause right here to take a moment or two to go brew yourself a cup of hot tea, maybe get a tall glass of water, and if you're so inclined, crack a beer or two. I'm going to be adding some dialogue to the video that Jane Doe had recently done regarding 1 Peter 5:13 and that scripture placing Peter in Babylon. And what I found in doing some of this extracurricular research is, as usual, Christian deflection. Now, I have a lot in front of me, so if it looks like it's been edited, it's not because I'm making any mistake or anything. It's because I have got a lot that I want to read and go through, because I want you friends to see exactly why Christians have to deflect from 1 Peter 5:13. Okay? And quite honestly, the more I did the research on this, thanks to Kim doing a little bit of research, and I have another person I want to thank eventually in the video, Constellation Pegasus, because this person actually provided something a month ago that would have prompted me to do this anyways. So thank you if I don't mention a thanks later in this video. So here we go. Buckle up. Why would the Christians want to deflect from 1 Peter 5:13? Well, in short, the real world history of Babylon would actually contradict biblical theology and biblical prophecy. And how can we use this deflection to possibly help those who are not Jehovah's Witnesses to also see what is at play? So what I want to do first is just read 1 Peter 5:13, and I want to read that from the New World Translation so that you can see exactly what we're talking about. Okay? She who is in Babylon, a chosen one like you, sends you her greetings, and so does Mark, my son. Okay? On the surface, you would think, as a Christian that's not educated in any of this, that the she was a real person. Okay? But here again, she who is in Babylon sends you her greetings, and so does Mark, my son. So on the surface, it appears that there's two people in Babylon along with Peter when he's writing this. So first of all, who is the she? The Bible doesn't answer this. So you're left with just kind of like, I guess it's not important that we don't know who the she is. But you know, friends, there's actually an answer for this. And when I give you the answer, you're going to really begin to doubt the Bible's authenticity. And as I go through this, you're going to find yourself doubting it more and more and more, because it's a huge deflection and it's a word game that these writers of this Bible have put together. Okay? So would you like to know who the she is? I bet you do. I have an original, well, I shouldn't say original, but I have a copy of an original 1611 King James Version. 1 Peter 5:13. Now, this is who the she is. The church that is at Babylon, elected together with you, saluteth you, and so doth Marcus, my son. The church that is at Babylon, You see, friends, that's who the she is. There's an established Christian church in Babylon. Okay, now, just so that we can see that by the time you get to the Revised Standard Version, and I've read this before in the preface, friends, even the preface admits the 1611 King James Version has got problems. I've done videos on this where I've read this dozens of times. But look at what even they do here. 1 Peter 5:13. She who is at Babylon, who is likewise chosen, sends you greetings, and so does my son Mark. Notice from the 1611 plainly says that it's an established church. By the time they get to doing this one, they went right back to what every other modern day Bible today does, deflect with the word she and leaving the reader to question now who the she is when the 1611 King James Version plainly states that it's a church. But hey, I'm not just going to end there. My complete Jewish Bible by David H. Stern. 1 Peter 5:13. Your sister congregation in Bevel, chosen along with you, sends greetings to you, as does my son Mark. So now, the complete Jewish Bible says your sister congregation in Bevel, which is Babylon. So, seems like we got one hell of a mess to go through, don't we? Because you got some Bibles that plainly state a congregation or a church in Babylon in Peter's day, or you have those writers deflecting from the congregation or the church to she and leaving the audience to query who is the she. So I hope you friends can really begin to see where this is all going, because it really is easy to walk through. But the only way you can do it is you have to be honest with yourself. That's what it takes. Personal integrity and personal honesty. So perhaps a question that you may be thinking right now is, why deflect from the church in Babylon to the she and try to confuse the issue? Well, the real issue here, friends, is recorded in Isaiah in the prophecy regarding Babylon. So let's go ahead and read those scriptures, and I'll be reading this from the New World Translation just because, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses are familiar with the way it reads. So let me get the Bible passage found, and we'll begin reading it. Now, before I begin reading this, all Jehovah's Witnesses know that this prophecy is pertaining to around the time period of 536 BCE, when the Medes and the Persians conquered Babylon by diverting the Euphrates River. Okay, so let's start with verse 19. Now I want you to think about something before I read this. I've stated before, there's two false prophecies in the book of Ezekiel and Jeremiah regarding Nebuchadnezzar. You can scroll back on this channel, find them, they're there. The thing that makes those false prophecies is that they are name specific. That's the key to this. Now I know when I did that video, I went to Christian websites, and once again they deflected because they say, well look, Cyrus conquered Egypt, so the prophecy came true. No, because the prophecy was name specific. The same thing happens here. This becomes a time specific prophecy. So let's start with verse 19. And this is Isaiah writing the prophecy of doom against Babylon. And Babylon, the decoration of kingdoms, the beauty of the pride of the Chaldeans, must become as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. See, now remember, she must become as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, which means absolute and utter destruction. Verse 20, and she will never be inhabited, nor will she reside for generation after generation. Again, time specific. And there the Arab will not pitch his tent, and no shepherds will let their flocks lie down there. And there the haunters of waterless regions will certainly lie down, and their houses must be filled with eagle owls, and there the ostrich must reside, and goat-shaped demons themselves will go skipping about, and jackals must howl in her dwelling towers, and the big snake will be in the places of exquisite delight. Here's another time specific. And the season for her is near to come, and her days themselves will not be postponed. 5:13 places Peter in Babylon hundreds upon hundreds of years later. Isaiah's prophecy did not come true. It's a false prophecy because it's time specific. But see, and that's why Christians have to deflect and not show that there's an established church in Babylon, because the prophecy in Isaiah shows utter desolation and destruction, and it's timed specific. That's why they deflect. But I'm going to show you, friends, what this deflection is and why it's a false deflection. Because Christians do not want to have a holy Bible that has false prophecies in it. That's why they deflect like nobody's business. Well, there again, it's like playing a baseball game. The only way a team can win is if you have a really good pitcher that knows how to throw multiple balls, such as the curveball, the sinker, the slider, the changeup, the knuckleball. The pitcher does that continuously to confuse the batter. But a batter who is well trained to see what's coming out of the hand of the pitcher, he can see what's coming. That's why Christians deflect so much, because they don't want you to see what's coming. So now I would like to take a moment to read what's on the Cyrus cylinder that's at the British Museum regarding part of this topic, okay? So I'm going to read. My darling wife has printed it up for me right here, but you can go online to the British Museum, type in Cyrus cylinder, and you can read right along. Okay? It reads, the text is incomplete. It is written in Babylonian script and language, and records that Nabonidus, the last king of Babylon, 555 through 539 BCE, had perverted the cults of the Babylonian gods, including Marduk, the city god of Babylon, and had imposed labor service on its free population, who complained to the gods. The gods responded by deserting Babylon. But Marduk, now I want your friends to pay attention to this, because see, this is written in stone. This has never been changed, never been tampered with. Names have never been changed to convict the innocent. But listen to what this Cyrus cylinder says. But Marduk looked around for a champion to restore the old ways. He chose Cyrus, king of Persia, and declared him king of the world. Now wait a minute, guys. The Bible says that Jehovah anointed Cyrus. Paper has been changed. This cast cylinder has not. Do you see why it is so important to do your study and research? Let me read that again. But Marduk looked around for a champion to restore the old ways. He chose Cyrus, king of Persia, and declared him king of the world. First, Cyrus expanded his kingship over the tribes of Iran, ruling them justly. Then Marduk ordered Cyrus to march on Babylon, which he entered without a fight. Oh, the diversion of the Euphrates? Nabonidus was delivered into his hands, meeny, Chico Parson, and the people of Babylon joyfully accepted the kingship of Cyrus. From this point on, the document is written as if Cyrus himself is speaking. I, Cyrus, king of the world. He presents himself as a worshiper of Marduk, not Jehovah, Marduk, who strove for peace in Babylon and abolished the labor service of its population. See, guys? In paper, in the Bible, Cyrus is the anointed of Jehovah. But in the Cyrus cylinder, it's Marduk that did all of this. Why? To free the people in Babylon that had been, what's it say right here? In other words, enslaved a free population. Do you see why this is developing into a problem for Christian theology and these modern day Bibles that make Jehovah the God of the world, the God of the universe, when this cylinder stone plainly states it's Marduk? Okay? So let me glance back down at my notes to see where I'm at, and I'll continue on. Now, all of us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and Jehovah's Witnesses included, we all know historically how this all plays out. Alexander the Great, a Greek, went through that part of the world and conquered it, and that's how the Greeks became the world empire. This was done through Alexander the Great. You can go to the Encyclopedia Britannica. I've got some of that printed up right here, and I'm just going to read just a little bit of it. In July 331, Alexander was at Pacus on the Euphrates. Instead of taking the direct route down the river to Babylon, he made across northern Mesopotamia towards the Tigris. And Darius, learning of this move from an advanced force sent under Mazaeus to the Euphrates crossing, marched up the Tigris to oppose him. The decisive battle of the war was fought on October 31, Halloween, on the plain of whatever this plain is between Nineveh and Arbela. Alexander pursued and defeated Persian forces for 35 miles to Arbela, but Darius escaped with his Bactrian cavalry and Greek mercenaries into Media. Alexander now occupied Babylon and the province. Now, I want to read something from the Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible regarding Alexander the Great, because here we have October 31st, Halloween. But reading from my Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible under Alexandria, or Alexander, it states right here, subduing Darius at Gaugamela, once and for all, he advanced victoriously through Mesopotamia and the Persian Empire as far as the Indus, reading Homer all the while on his travels. Here he experienced trouble with his troops, who after 8 years away were pining for home, and he was prevented from proceeding with the conquest of India as he had hoped. In 323, he died from fever in Babylon at the age of 33. He did indeed defeat Darius and reign in his stead. As the author of Maccabees, of 1 Maccabees 1:1 observes. Reading from 1 Maccabees 1:1, Alexander of Macedon, son of Philip, had come from the land of Kittim. Oh, I wonder if this has anything to do with the ships of Kittim. I don't know. I digress. And defeated Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, whom he succeeded as ruler. And where, friends? In Babylon. Okay? That's why this is posing to be a problem when you read 1 Peter 3:15. Because Peter's in Babylon. According to the Isaiah prophecy, soon didn't happen. But this should also pose another thought-provoking question for Christians. If the Babylonian Empire was so evil, so wicked, then why was Daniel made head of the magic practicing priest? Once again, my wife and I, we did a full-length video exposing all of that. But everybody wants to deflect because they want Bible prophecy to come true when it has not. Thus, they deflect when the obvious is right in your face. Okay, now I just want to backtrack a little bit regarding Cyrus, because remember, even in your modern day versions of the Bible, Cyrus is the anointed of Jehovah. But I read right from the Cyrus cylinder, it was Marduk. Okay, so this is where, once again, I want to thank Constellation Pegasus, because doing some research on this topic themselves, they came across from a commentary, the Rashi commentary, which is a it's a study Bible, is what it is. And this is what was found, okay? And even though I'm going to read the commentary, I'm going to use the Bible to back this up, to deliver what I would consider the death blow to this topic. Unfortunately, I don't have the page number, but this is in regards to Ezra. And then I'm going to read from the Bible what Ezra states regarding, but I want to read this commentary first because it's very important to this topic. Okay? God, through Isaiah, addresses Cyrus, the king of Persia, who will be his agent in bringing Israel back to its land. According to the Talmud, his anointed one refers to the Messiah to whom God complained about Cyrus. I commanded him to rebuild my temple in Jerusalem. But instead of building it himself, He merely allowed those who wished to build it to do so. Had he built it himself, it would have stood forever. And you, Messiah, would have been revealed now for the final redemption. However, because he did not follow my word exactly, his temple will also be destroyed, and the nation will once again go into exile. This is, again, there's a little piece right here in parentheses that I'm now going to assume comes from this book, Migla 12a, as explained by Rashba. Now, remember, the anointed of Jehovah, the Cyrus cylinder stone says, the anointed of Marduk. Ezra, New World Translation, chapter 1. And in the first year of Cyrus, the king of Persia, and Jehovah's word from the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, Jehovah roused the spirit of Cyrus, the king of Persia, so that he caused a cry to pass through all his realm, and also in writing, saying, quote, "This is what Cyrus, the king of Persia, has said. All the kingdoms of the earth, Jehovah, the God of the heavens, has given me, and he himself has commissioned me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah." Now this should really raise a lot of questions for Jehovah's Witnesses and Christians alike. I've done videos on it where David wanted to build Jehovah a house, and Jehovah said, "What kind of house could you build for me?" And then David couldn't do it because he's got blood on his hands. But then Jehovah says, "But your son Solomon will build me a house." Here you've got Jehovah commissioning Cyrus to build him a house. Do you not see the inherent problems with this? But like the commentary says, instead of Cyrus building the house, the temple himself, he commissioned the Jews. You go home and you build your own little temple, worship your own little God Yahweh. Oh, wait a minute, Jehovah, the Cyrus stone says Marduk. Damn, this stuff can get confusing. Especially when you realize Yahweh is nothing but a tribal God. Small case G, just like Jehovah. Because on that Cyrus stone, it's Marduk that anoints Cyrus. Not Yahweh, not Jehovah, and not even Jesus. It's not hard. So would you guys like me to reread this for emphasis? You know, because Jehovah's Witnesses in their theocratic ministry school have a little point of, you know, working on your points, your school points. So I'm going to reread this for emphasis, but this time I'm going to do it the way the Cyrus cylinder suggests. This is what Cyrus, the king of Persia, has said. All the kingdoms of the earth, Marduk, the God of the heavens, has given me, and he himself has commissioned me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. The captive Jews went home and built a temple to Marduk. And it didn't stand. It got destroyed. And as prophesied, or at least is said right here, however, because he, Cyrus, did not follow my word exactly, this temple will also be destroyed, and the nation will once again go into exile. Let's see, I think that happened in 70 CE under the Romans. So, as I've read, as we can all see, Bible history is wrong. Now, to bring all of this together, this does become a huge problem for Christians. And this is how they deflect from 1 Peter 5:13. Because what Christians will say, and it's easy enough, just go on YouTube, search the internet, the Christians will say that the name Babylon is a code for Rome. So Peter really was writing from the church that's in Rome. Because see, Babylon is just a code. So when you read in the Bible, especially in the New Testament, Babylon, in your mind, you must be translating that to Rome. So let's play this little word whisker game. Okay? Because this works for me. Either way, these people want to deflect from the real history, works for me. Because when they do this, they don't realize how self-condemnatory they are to their own theology that's in this Bible. So let's go to Revelation chapter 17, and we'll play this little game. And we will change the word Babylon to Rome. Okay? Revelation 17:5. And upon her forehead was written a name, a mystery, Rome the Great, the mother of the harlots and the disgusting things of the earth. Ouch! When you want to deflect and play this little BS game, this little game of codes, this is how you convict yourself. So would you like me to do this again? Because it's just this easy. And upon her forehead, which would be, the her, the she, the church in Rome, Rome the Great, the mother of the harlots and of the disgusting things of the earth. Well, let's just do this again. Let's go over to Revelation chapter 18, verse 2. And he cried out with a strong voice, saying, She has fallen! Rome the Great has fallen! And she has become a dwelling place of demons and a lurking place of every unclean exaltation and a lurking place of... Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. My bad. This is just this writer regurgitating a failed prophecy in Isaiah. Oh, jeez. How could I have missed that all these years? See, Christians want to play a word whisker game. And they can play it. I really don't give a damn. The problem is in cults like Jehovah's Witnesses, people die because of this bullshit. They get tricked into a false blood doctrine and then allow their children, their grandparents, their husbands and wives to die because of a stupid little word whisker game. See, friends, when you do the real history and look at it, you will see in about 650 CE, the Muslims overtook the territory. They finished off Babylon proper. But that was hundreds upon hundreds of years later. Isaiah's prophecy was time specific. That's why placing Peter in Babylon, they have to deflect. Because they don't want you friends to know Isaiah, just like Jeremiah and Ezekiel, contains false prophecies. But thinking about this in a more funny bone type of situation, since the Christians want to make Peter the first pope in Rome, Babylon, by extension, Peter is responsible for all the damage that Christianity has caused to human societies, from the Dark Ages to even the BS that your cults are shoving down people's throats today. You know what, guys? You just can't make this crap up. But you know what? Somebody did. And it's called the Holy Inerrant Word of God. Have a nice day. Bye.